let's take a look at a game, and we'll break it down as though it was a big play, right? On the plane, when I was flying back from BlizzCon, I was thinking about Rogue. I was thinking about how much ass Rogue was kicking at BlizzCon. And a key thing that made him so strong compared with other players was he combined distractions with big strikes over and over again. He's trying to pull off wins against the best players in the world, to be the best player in the world, right? So you can't just build more stuff. You also have to make some really big plays. And he's a Zerg who feels like he does respond to the information he gets from the opponent, but if both players kind of get to their mid-game setup and they both have a lot of stuff, how do you wrest a really critical advantage and end up winning the game? How do you wrest the victory from a few advantages that you have? So this is a ZVZ. The finals of BlizzCon was also a ZVZ, and it can be kind of difficult, especially if you're in the Roach versus Roach scenario, to create some really obvious and clear edges for yourself, where you know, this is what I'm trying to do, this is how I'm distracting, this is how I'm striking. So I'm going to start doing a series of videos like this where it's Zerg plays, and we're trying to work on combining a distraction with a strike to take the win. The early game for this is not important. This is not a build order guide. This is more about how you can divert the attention of the opponent, make them go look at something, and then hit them really hard somewhere else. There were a lot of different ways that he did that. I'll probably cover more of the types over the course of more of these little reviews. But this was just me trying to take some ideas from what he used. Rogue used Nydus a whole bunch, and Nydus is a really good way to unload an unpredictable number of units. Sometimes he would do a fake Nydus and just put it in someone's base, and they would have to figure out, is there going to be something that comes out of it? Is it empty? Is your entire army in there? You don't really know. So that's one of the key things about Zerg, where you can keep the opponent guessing and make them paranoid and unsure of where you're going to hit them next. If you only make a basic Roach army, you're limited to the ground paths. So you would have to come into this location. This is not a good location to attack into, especially if the enemy knows you're coming. So early game, just going for some Overlord speed. The play that I'm trying to go for, which is Lurkers and Nydus, doesn't really involve any early pressure. So I'm just kind of looking to see what my opponent's going for so I could adjust to them in the early stage. And I saw a late lair, which means I'm a little bit further along in the tech tree. I think a little bit behind in upgrades. Snake has +1 ranged on the way. Oh no, I'm ahead. So in tech I'm ahead. And in drones I'm ahead. But if it's really close, you can't always just move across the map and win. Because if you have roughly equivalent economy and equivalent army, if you go to their side of the map, you give them defender's advantage, which means all their new units are popping out and joining the fight right away, as opposed to the attacker, whose new units have to walk across the map and fight. So I have a bit fewer roaches here. Part of that is because I'm going for a roach drop. So the first play that I'm making in this sequence is 4 roaches on a plane. 3 roaches will one-shot a worker, so 4 just gives you a little bit extra chance to hit workers if roaches are dropped into a base. I'm defending here, and it's going to be kind of a close defense because I have the earlier 4th base that's finished. This 4th base is not done. And I have a few more workers, and I have more tech with the Lurker Den and the Nydus network and the +2. So this defense should be kind of dicey, and that's okay. If you're trying to get a really big, clear edge in tech, sometimes that puts you a little bit behind an army, which means the defense is going to be kind of stressful. So this is pretty nasty. It's going to be tough, and I end up having to pull drones, so I'm able to pull off the big play that I'm looking to land, which is Nydus in the opponent's base. The roaches are dropped, but I'm not really paying much attention to this. My attention right now is on defending this primarily. I'll make a small adjustment to the roaches in the opponent's base, but this is where the majority of my value is concentrated. If I lose this fight, I lose the game. So I'm paying a little bit more attention to this, and then whenever I feel like that army is going to do okay, then I'll go back to the roaches that are in the drop. So I'm just double checking, trying to get a little bit more value. And then we'll look at the workers killed. It's about even. And if it's an even trade in workers killed, and I started out with more workers, and I have more tech, then I'm ahead. So now we're going to try and land the play, where if I just moved across the map and I tried to root my lurkers, or burrow them, and push the opponent's outer base, they could be attacking me as I was moving forward. But the advantage of a Nydus is I can take the high ground from the opponent. I call this Obi-Wan Kenobi, where if you have high ground, they have to attack up into you, and that's generally speaking really, really bad. So we'll look at the play in action. I've got the tools that I need. I have the Nydus, I have the lurkers, I have +2 ranged, and then I have some Roach Hydra buffer. So I'm kind of looking around, seeing if they're going to go back home. And now it's good to think about the layout of the opponent's bases, how to pull their army away from the place where I intend to strike really hard. So the main point that I want to control is this right here. If I control this location, the units from this base and this base can't get into the main and natural to save themselves from the units coming out of the Nydus and winning. So what I want to do is pull their attention as far from this point as possible, which an easy access route will be right here. So my plan is to send a few roaches up this ramp and pull the attention of the opponent kind of northward at their most exposed base, while I set up the Nydus back here with this Overseer that's actually in a blind spot. Can't even see this right now because it's between this base and this base. So we'll look at the setup for that. Production tab, I'm making Hydras, taking Hydra range. Overlords are also a pretty nice distraction mechanism too. Just giving the opponent something they think that they can kill. A lot of times they'll feel like, yeah, I'm killing something, that's good. I'm getting ahead. When if it causes them to move their army out of position, they're really going to get punished hard by your big strike in the main. So, right now, these roaches are going in here, and I've pulled the attention of all of these units with, what, 6 roaches. 6 roaches pulled the attention of more than 3 times that right here. So these roaches completely accomplished their mission. They were purely a distracting force. Maybe they'll kill a drone or 2 or 3, but they're never going to beat this. So the opponent's thinking, ah, that's free roaches I can go kill. But they were used to put their army out of position so I could establish this. If their army was here, it's a lot closer to being able to attack this, or even if it was here. So I'm just trying to scoot them a little bit more out of position, and then the big play, which is taking the high ground with the Nydus. So I burrow these lurkers, and then I can kill everything that's transferred between. Drones being transferred, roaches being transferred. And lurkers are tough because they're great at controlling a ramp, and it requires detection to be able to clean them up. Unless you use corrosive bile and you know where they are. So I don't have a ton of units here. I'm just in such a powerful position that they can't attack into me even if they have more supply and army. Like, I have less supply right now, but I command a great position because those roaches pulled the opponent's attention north, and I attacked really hard south. And now the supply goes way in my favor. That was like 50 supply of Roach Ravager that's dead now. And I've achieved a win condition. They can no longer transfer units. Any new roaches that come out of here are going to die to this and this. So that's a win. So that's the kind of Roach strike, and then the Lurker Roach Hydra kind of bonk into the main. Distract and then hit him. And that's a big play. Free my pizza. Thank you. Thank you for supporting this stream and allowing